Hey now peoples, guess what? It's panda time. We are taking a look at Takenoko today. Takenoko is designed by Antoine Balza, who is a designer I like quite a lot. And it was published by like 4 different companies. I don't really know why. Asmodee, Madagot, both companies that I like quite a bit. And 2, I don't really know a lot about, Bombix and Pure Arts. But nevertheless, what is this game about? That's certainly a very colorful presentation here on the front of the box. Well, it does involve a panda, so don't worry, it's not just pleasant artwork. The players in this game are all trying to manipulate the same bamboo garden in feudal Japan, trying to make it look as pretty as possible for the shogun or daimyo or whoever's coming by to inspect it. I don't know if that really falls within the purview of that title, daimyo or shogun, but they sure like to inspect bamboo gardens, apparently. And everyone's gonna have hidden objectives, and you're gonna try to complete those objectives to have the arrangement of bamboo tiles the way that they want them, to have the actual bamboo shoots and colors of bamboo in the arrangement they want them, and the length. And there is a panda that has been gifted to this bamboo garden against the owner's wishes, and it's running around eating bamboo, and you want to make sure that bamboo eats the right kind of bamboo for your objectives. Does that all sound a little weird? Well, it is weird, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game. It doesn't mean it's a great game. Let's go ahead and take a look. You can make up your own mind based on that, but then we're going to come back and I'm going to tell you what I think, which is really all that matters in this review. Seriously. Let's check it out. Alright, let me give you a brief overview of Takenoko. We'll start with the initial setup. So, first off, you have a very nice little box insert here, which is where you're going to keep most of the components during the gameplay. You've got the different pieces of bamboo in different colors. You have the irrigation channels, and then I left them in the box, but each player is going to get these little player pieces. Each player also gets a player card. They're all basically the same, and they're going to detail what kind of actions you can take and let you keep track of what resources that you have. You have a die that you're going to use after the first round. Different types of improvements that you can add to the tiles. The objective cards, of which there are 3 different kinds. The actual stack of tiles that you're going to be building your bamboo garden with. And the game always begins with the central fountain tile and the gardener and the panda down on that tile. Now let's look at those all a little bit more in depth. Alright, so the goal of Takenoko is to have the most points at the end of the game by manipulating the bamboo garden in your favor to complete your objectives. Everyone's got a player card that's exactly the same, and it's just going to detail all the different actions you can take here in this row. Up here is all the different faces of the die that you'll roll every round after the first and what they do. And all of this is meant to keep track of your resources. So the first action lets you go fishing for tiles. You'll grab 3, take 1, put the other 2 on the bottom of the stack, and put 1 out on the board. This one will let you grab an irrigation canal, which is one of these, blue wooden rods here, which you'll use to irrigate tiles after you get away from the central fountain area. The next action is to move the gardener, and he can only move in a straight line, and he will make bamboo grow if it's irrigated, wherever he ends up. The panda does the opposite. You move him in a straight line, but he's going to eat bamboo wherever he ends up. And the last action is to grab objective cards. Now, everyone's going to start with 1 objective card of each category, but you can only have 5 in your hand total before you have to start completing them. And you also, if you draw an objective card, you have to discard it right away if it's something you can automatically complete. In other words, the arrangements of whatever tiles, bamboo, or your panda's stomach can't automatically fulfill the card you draw. If it does, you have to discard it and draw another one. So let's talk a little bit about those objective cards. The tile objective cards always have to do with having a certain arrangement and color of tiles out on the board. First off, this symbol up in the corner reminds you that those tiles must be irrigated. That's pretty much how every single card is. And as long as this arrangement of yellow tiles is out, you can score this particular objective card. This is the amount of points you'll get. Now this one requires that you have basically that same arrangement, but green and pink. And it doesn't matter how this is out on the board. Like, it could literally look like this, vertical. If it's arranged horizontally, either like this or like this, it doesn't matter as long as this arrangement is out there somewhere, somehow. There we have that, different color. Let's get a different one. There we go. Some of them look like that. You get the idea. Now the gardener objective cards are a bit different. This has to do with bamboo. Basically, you need to have whatever the arrangement of bamboo is on the card somewhere out on the board. So for instance, here you need to have one tile that has 4 green bamboo stacked 4 high, exactly 4 high. And in this case, it has to have a fertilization improvement, which I'll get to in a moment. This one is the same, but it's yellow, and you need a panda enclosure improvement. This one requires an irrigation improvement. This one requires that on 2 different tiles, you must have a stack of 3 pink bamboo, exactly 3. This one requires that one tile have 4 green bamboo stacked 4 high, but have no improvement whatsoever, and so on and so forth. There's a pretty tough one. You have to have 4 tiles with exactly 3 green bamboo on them. And finally, the panda objective cards. Now, I'll say first off that panda objective cards can be somewhat important because they are the tiebreaker at the end of the game. If more than one player has the same amount of points, whoever has the most panda cards is the winner. And these require you to have a certain number of pieces and color of pieces of bamboo in the panda stomach on your player board. So for instance, with this card, you'll score full points if you have 2 pieces of yellow bamboo in your panda stomach, 2 pieces of pink bamboo. Let's get a tough one here. This one requires you to have 1 of each color bamboo in the panda's stomach, but you score 6 points. Now, unlike with the gardener, you do not have to have this exact arrangement of bamboo in your panda's stomach. As long as you have at least this amount of bamboo in these colors, you're good to go. You could have more than that, less than that, different colors, doesn't matter, but you need exactly those 3. Everything else is just bonus. And when you score these, you'll remove that bamboo and put it back into the supply. I'll leave it to your imagination what happens to that bamboo after it leaves the panda's stomach. And so let's look at some of the tiles. Most of the tiles, they all look like this on one side, and most of them are plain. They come in 3 colors, just like the bamboo: pink, yellow, and green, and there's nothing special about them other than the artwork. And of course, the color is going to denote what kind of bamboo is going to grow there. When you grab a tile using the grab a tile action, you're going to put it adjacent to a tile that is already on the board. If that tile is irrigated, which every tile adjacent to the central fountain is right away, it's going to automatically grow a piece of bamboo. We'll get back to that in a moment. Some of the tiles, however, come with improvements built in. So this improvement is the panda enclosure. If this improvement is on a tile, a panda cannot eat bamboo there. This improvement is an irrigation improvement. This one says that this tile is automatically irrigated, which means that as soon as it's placed on the board, it will grow bamboo, regardless of whether or not it has an irrigation channel or is adjacent to the central fountain. Now, the fertilizer improvement, it doesn't mean that the tile is automatically going to grow bamboo, but if it's irrigated and it grows bamboo, it will grow an extra piece, both when it's placed onto the board, if it's irrigated already, or if the gardener makes it grow bamboo there. You can also use, sometimes you'll be able to grab actual improvements and put them out on the board yourself. They're like a resource you can grab. There's a finite supply of them, 3 of each. But you can put one on your turn as long as you have it in your stock. You can, at any point, you can put it out on one of the tiles. And on that note, let's get to the die, because that's how you're going to get those improvements. After the first round, starting with whoever the first player was at the start of the next round, the very first thing you're going to do is going to roll this die. This 6-sided die has 6 different faces, and whatever face comes up is the special bonus action you get to do. So if you get the sun, you're going to be able to have 1 extra action on your turn. And that means you get 3 actions, and just like with the standard rules, you cannot take the same action twice. I guess I actually should have said that earlier. But you can take 3 actions. You can use the die just as a little reminder if you need to. You also need to pre-program that 3rd action as well, but then you can take them in any order. If you get the rain symbol, you are going to be able to pick any already irrigated tile on the board and make an extra piece of bamboo grow there. So that can be very helpful with the gardener achievements. If you get the wind, you're going to be able to take the same action twice. You don't get an extra action. You can just do the same thing twice if you want. You are not required to. If you get the lightning, you can move the panda to any space on the board. Basically, he gets scared and he auto teleports to any space you want and immediately eats bamboo there. You can even then take the regular panda action again and have him eat more bamboo if you want. The cloud is going to let you actually get an improvement from the stock. Any of the 3 improvements that you want, you take it, put it down on your player board. You can use it on your turn whenever you want or on a future turn. If you get the question mark, you can choose any of the 5 sides of the die and take that action. So let me tell you a little bit about how the game actually flows and what you're going to be doing on your turn and how the game's going to play. Alright, let's just do a couple of mock turns. So it's my first turn, I have to pre-program my actions. I'm going to do the tile laying action and I'm going to go for an objective. Also, I start with 3 objectives in my hands. So if I take a look at those, I have this tile laying objective. I have to have this amount of bamboo somewhere on one of the tiles, and I have to have 2 yellow bamboo in my panda's stomach. So let's grab another objective first. I'll go ahead and grab this one, put it in my hand. All your cards are secret until you actually score the achievement. And then I'm going to go tile fishing. So I'll grab 3, and let's see, if I go off of what I have here, I want to be able to grow green bamboo. And I don't want a panda to eat it, so this is actually a really great tile, because if a panda eats it, it's going to ruin my plan. Now, because this is next to the central fountain tile, these tiles are automatically irrigated. So I'm going to automatically put a piece of bamboo there, and the panda cannot eat it. So these 2 tiles that I didn't choose are going to go back underneath the stack. Now, let's say it goes around to the other players, and my next turn I can roll a die. Boom, I got the wind achievement. Now the wind achievement is going to let me take the same action twice, and why not? I kind of like that idea, so let's just go ahead and do the tile again, because why not? Alright, that's cool. So there's another green one for me, just in case my plan gets ruined. That's going to grow some green as well, and I'll put those back on the bottom, and whoops. And you would think this is my first time doing a review video, but then I'm going to go fishing again. I'll draw the top 3, and let's look at my achievement cards again. Now, I actually do want both pink and yellow at a certain point, so let's just go ahead and grab a pink for now. Put it out. It has to be adjacent on both sides to other tiles after the first one is placed, or after you start building out from there around the central tile. And so that's automatically going to grab a pink bamboo as well. Alright, then my actions are going to reset. It's my next turn. I got the question mark. Well, I think for now, let's go ahead and do the 3 sun action, which means I'm going to get 3 actions. I'll do moving the gardener. I'll do picking a tile. And I'm going to go ahead and do the panda. So let's move the gardener first. I have to move the gardener in a straight line. He goes to here. Now, the gardener is going to make bamboo grow not just here, but every adjacent tile that is of the same color and that is irrigated. So boom, boom. Now I have 2 stacks of green bamboo on 2 different tiles. Now I said I wanted to go tile fishing, so let's do that again and hope that I get a yellow. And I did. Now this one's kind of waste because it's already irrigated, and I'm going to put it here, which I think will help me out with my arrangement if I do this correctly. Right, so you see I already have half of that completed, and it's already automatically irrigated 2 times essentially. So I'm going to grab a piece there. Now I don't really care about what bamboo is there, so with my last action I'm going to move the panda, go here. He automatically eats this piece of bamboo, which puts me 1 step closer to completing this panda objective because I need 2 pieces of yellow bamboo. This is going to keep going on and on until you're trying your absolute best to complete your objectives. You're going to keep putting tiles out, and as tiles go further out, you're going to need to irrigate them, and you're going to use the central fountain as your start of your irrigation channel. And when you've got enough, you're going to, if you can put irrigation channel between tiles, as long as it's on a side, it's going to become automatically irrigated. You'll put bamboo out, and you're going to keep going like this until you can score your objectives. Now, you can score your objectives on your turn. You might want to hold on to them, but eventually you're going to have to keep playing them because you have a hand limit of 5. And whenever you play and complete a certain amount of objectives by playing them face up in front of you, depending on the number of players, when someone meets that threshold, you're going to trigger the final round. Whoever does trigger the final round is going to get a special bonus objective card, the Emperor or Shogun, who's worth 2 points, and you'll just take that as another objective. Then everyone else at the table gets another turn. Remember, this game is for 2 to 4 players. And once everyone's taken their final turn, you're going to add up the points on all of your objective cards. Panda cards are a tiebreaker. Whoever has the most is the winner. As far as I'm concerned, the hits just keep on coming from Antoine Bauza, and actually in a larger sense from Asmodee and Matagot. I'm a big fan of those two companies and that designer. Takenoko is no exception. Takenoko is the kind of light Euro game that I can really get behind. Fantastic production values. I love it. So colorful, so nice. When you get the game to the middle point and beyond, and if you're at your friendly local game store, or even in your own little game group like here that I play at my place, and other people walk by and see the game, they always do that double take like, what? What is that? Is that a panda? That's what this game is. And it's not just that. If it was just the component quality, trust me, it wouldn't be sitting on my shelf for as long as it has been. The fact that there's a good, solid game attached to it. Not just that, a game that you can introduce anyone to. There's so few games in my collection, I find, so that I could really introduce anyone to. And those are very valuable to me because I get a lot of new people coming into my group who, they come because it's a board game and card game group, but they are expecting something like chess. They're expecting Monopoly. People do still expect to be playing Monopoly and Scrabble, despite what us snobbish board gamers, modern board gamers, think. This is the kind of game I can bring out to those people. I can say, we're not playing Chaos in the Old World, and we're not playing, Mage Wars or any really, really super complicated game. Let's play a game that has really colorful elements, very simple, objective-driven gameplay, but that has enough complexity to it and enough strategy to it that you're going to want more. It's a nice introduction, and you're going to want to have even deeper, more complex games afterwards, or you just have no soul, which is possible. But nevertheless, I think that Takenoko is really great. I love the different objectives. As a fault, I do think that the objectives are kind of odd and unbalanced in some ways. There are some cards, and I can't rattle off specifically what they are in particular right now, that seem much easier to do than other cards, but are worth more points. That seems a bit odd to me. I don't know. I do think that you should even if it's your first time playing the game or you're very new to it, or even if you're playing with new people, you definitely need to use the quote-unquote advanced rule of not allowing a player to draw an objective and keep an objective that can immediately be completed, because it's just weird and even more unbalanced. And it's not a big change. You can do it. It's not like overly complicated to institute that rule. So that's a must-do right there. I do think that the die roll is going to infuriate some players because, heavy Euro gamers, you're going to want to play this with them if you're not a heavy Euro gamer yourself, because it is a common ground between the two types of players, but they're not going to like that die roll. And they're not going to like the randomness of the cards either. But to me, I think it's great. I think that die roll is everything. In fact, I kind of don't even like that you don't use that in the first round, but I think that's probably a game balance issue as well. But I like that. Did I mention the components are fabulous? But yeah, let's not go on too much about that. I also don't like the Emperor Shogun card, or whatever it is. The fact that someone who was good enough and was doing well enough to play enough objectives to get that card first anyways, they probably don't need another 2-point boost, really. It's possible that other players just have, even if they have less cards than you, that they are going to have their best turn right in that final round, or that they had less cards but they're worth more points. But chances are that's kind of like a little bit of a runaway leader effect, because giving another 2 points to someone that's already doing obviously fantastic, I don't know about all that. But nevertheless, I don't think that those are game-breaking issues. I think that overall, this is a simple but fairly deep, simple to get into, but fairly deep long-term game. I definitely think there are strategies that come out over time. Someone who's played this game several times is going to have a significant advantage over someone who hasn't played it much, but not a crushing advantage. I have played it with people that have played it much more and lost handily, but I knew that I could do better. I didn't do horribly, and that's a very important thing. People that get, like, I'm thinking of a game like Agricola, and Agricola is night and day with this game, but my point is that in Agricola, if you're new to the game and you play someone who has even just a little more experience with that game, you're going to get stomped easily, and that doesn't feel great. In Takenoko, you know you can do better because it's not that complex a game, and you're looking at beautiful components with awesome little panda the entire time. So I'm sorry if it seems like I'm just going on and on profusely about this game, but I do really like it a lot. I think that Antoine Bauza, to me, is one of the biggest stars in board gaming today, and this is why. So if you need a light Euro game to introduce your group to, if you're an Ameritrash lover but you want to spread out and ease into the world of heavy Euro games more, this is your very basic entry point, and it's a great one at that. So with that being said, my name is Nick. This is Board Game Brawl, reminding you to get out there and game every day and in every way with as many pandas as possible, if it's legal. Okay? Take care.